Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to weave a paper Christmas tree. I'm going to show you how simple and how beautiful they turn out. This is the finished product of one of my commissioned trees. This one's blue with a black wash. This one is a lilac tree, or actually lilac color, but as you can see you can make any color you want in any size you want. This is a pretty small one. It's about probably 8 inches tall, and the lilac one is about 12 inches. Probably a little larger than that. I just haven't measured it very well, but it looks like about 12 inches. Okay, and we're going to start with some paper strips, and I'm going to show you real quick how I cut them. You're going to fold your newspaper in 3. It doesn't have to be perfect, just eyeballing it, it's fine, and it's gonna look like this. I grab several pieces of newspaper. You can do it with one to start out, just to get the hang of it. And this is the way I cut the newspapers. I find it to be a lot faster and not as tedious as if you cut it with a pair of scissors. So now that you got one of the sides cut, we're gonna flip the newspaper over to cut the other side, or the other strips. Just introduce the knife in between the layers and hold with one hand and you're set. And I know a lot of people, well, a lot of you already know how to roll newspaper tubes, but this is a quick reminder. And all I do is I angle the wooden dowel. I'm using a skewer. You can use anything. It could be a knitting needle, a wooden dowel, a metal dowel. I don't even know if that's correct, but I'm using a skewer. I usually put a small dot of glue in the beginning. You don't have to, but I find it to be a lot better when it comes to painting the tubes. So just squeeze with the other hand and roll with your right hand. And we have to make sure that one tip of the tube is smaller than the other end. So one end has to be smaller than the other. Now we're going to put a dab of glue to keep the paper in place. And if you have extra glue, you just wipe it around. Wipe it on the rest of the tube. And there we go. We pull out the skewer or wooden dowel and you're set. And this side should be smaller than this side, because we're going to be connecting tubes. Now, I like to paint my tubes before I start on my weaving project. It makes it a lot easier when it comes to decorating it later or painting it later. So now we're going to do the cones, or the shape of the cone. And what I did is I grabbed 2 pieces of typing paper and made a cone. And we're going to do this again so you can take a quick look as how I did it. Lay your paper down, put your finger in the top corner, and then put your finger in the other corner that's closest to you, flip over and pick up, and you have a cone. And you can make the base wider or smaller. You can make the base narrower this way just by squeezing. Once you have the shape that you the size that you like, tape the seams and cut flush so that you have a steady base. Now we're gonna stuff our cone with newspaper to keep the shape of the cone when you're weaving. And place some tape at the bottom to keep the stuffing in place. You don't want all this stuff to come out while you're weaving. And there we go. We're going to need some glue in a small container. We're going to attach 2 of the tubes. That's why it's important to have one side of the tubes to be smaller than the other. So starting with the small side, we're going to introduce it to the larger side of another tube. And we're going to get started with our base. So there we go. There's one extra long tube. Now, we're usually do this without drawing a circle on a piece of paper, but I'm going to do it so that you guys can see what I'm doing and the cone's not in the way. You can also do this so that the cone's not in your way when you're making a base. So we're going to grab the extra long tube that we just joined, and we're going to place the seam of the tube flush with one of the sides of the circle. Now with the small side of another tube, we're going to fold it in about maybe half an inch inwards, and we're going to place it like so. With another tube, grabbing the small side again, folding it in, we're going to place it on the other side of the circle and underneath the second tube. And the final tube, we're going to do the same thing with the small side, bend it, fold it in. We're going to place that underneath the extra long tube that we made earlier, right on the seam. And it should look like a square. And let me double check to make sure that our cone will fit in and come out with no problem. Now put some glue and clamp down. And with the fourth seam right here, or joint, we just fold it over and clamp it down. And you're ready. Let it dry a little bit and you're ready to go. Now we're going to start out with the one with the seam, the last seam that we clamped down. And we're going to start weaving towards the center of our cone or circle, whichever. You can do this without the cone if you'd like, so that you can work a little bit easier. So now we worked with the first tube, we folded it towards the center, and we took the outside tube in and folded it towards the center. And we're doing it again with this one, always working towards the center. Now we're the outside tube, bring it towards the center, outside tube, bring it towards the center. And this is an easy way to remember. Outside tube, bring it towards the center. And we're going to join our first extension. A little dab of glue. And put the small side of the tube inside the larger side of the tube. And this is, like I said before, it's important to have one side smaller and one side larger. So we're weaving towards the center. Pick the outside tube, weave towards the center, outside tube, weave towards the center, outside tube, weave towards the center. Now this is a good time to put your cone. Usually I start with the cone anyway, but if you're doing it this way, it's always a good idea to, once you have one or two turned, to place your cone in there to start building your tree. Now you can clamp down your joint or your fold so that you can make an extension if you need to. So here we go again, working towards the center, outside tube, fold and press towards the center. And you keep going, and I'm going to let you watch this. And the rest is self-explanatory, and I'm going to be just saying the same thing over and over again. So I'll let you enjoy this, and when I'm done with the tree, I'll finish my commentary. Now we are going to finish up our tree, and you can fold them in like I'm doing right now and place some glue. I'm dabbing some glue with my finger, and you can cover the seam while you fold one of the tubes over like this. And you keep on weaving the same way we were doing it earlier, and then you can fold and see where is it that you can hide the seams. And like I just did, I just folded over and I saw where the tubes were touching, so that's where you can put some glue on there. See, I put some glue there with my finger, and I fold it over. And you can always fold them downwards to hide the seam, but you can also leave them open just in case you want to stuff in a Christmas ornament or a little tag. So it's not always a bad thing to leave them open like I'm going to do right now. So right here, I'm going to cut the tube to size, place some glue. Let me move out of the way, there we go. Place some glue on there to attach the one that I did fold under. And this little piece right here where I'm pointing at, you can stuff it in a little bit, and it could be an orifice where you can hang a note or a bow or some kind of ornament. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And then you can cut all your extra tubes or excess tubes so that you can start decorating your tree. Now you can clamp down the tube if it's not sticking correctly. And see, now we're ready to take the cone out. And you're all ready to go. And there's your tree. One final thing before we decorate, we need to mix together 1 part white glue, 1 part acrylic paint, and a little bit of water. Mix it all thoroughly and paint your tree with this mixture. This will give your tree a little more strength and it will make it last longer. And now you're ready to decorate. And here's the final product once again. I just wanted to show you how it looks from the inside. It's so cool. And you can embellish with a little bow and a little topper. Put a little bow on this one too. And here's a lilac color tree again. This is actually more than 12 inches. I just measured it, and here is the inside. They're so cool. I just wanted to thank you for watching. I hope it wasn't boring, and I hope you subscribe and watch more of my videos and share. Please like my video, and thank you so much.